Seventh Planet Broadcasting, Headlines with a Brain, with your host, Gerald Clark.
Greetings all, this is Gerald Clark on behalf of Seventh Planet Broadcasting and Headlines with a Brain. And if you look around the headlines here on March 25th, the only thing that's showing up is the coronavirus. So I haven't been saying much about it. I did a show with Jay Campbell a little while ago, and I kind of spoke my piece on it, where I stood, but I guess probably pulling that out, making it just a position statement on what I think about it and what I'm doing about it and things like that. And I'll share that with you guys, but I'm not going to pull out a bunch of documents and justify, okay, it's kind of late at night here, my throat's a little bit sore. We've been in self-quarantine for more than a week now. And with that said, let's go back to the beginning. Coronavirus is a unique category of virus, includes influenza and the cold. I think they're kind of unique in the sense that they can exist outside the body of the host. And because of the way they're encapsulated for some period of time, that makes them pretty dangerous. Anyway, we know that a Harvard professor was being lured by the Chinese to give them technology in a lab. He got in trouble for not reporting his income. He get in trouble for giving a bioweapon to another country, potentially. Okay, but that's probably what happened. Anyway, they probably wanted the thing because they thought they were going to get attacked with it eventually, and they wanted to be able to have an offensive and defensive position, so they were probably studying the virus to see if they could back engineer and come up with a protection against it. In that sense, it's always been a bioweapon, even when it started out as a SARS virus, which, by the way, in a video that I'm going to share with you back in 2014, right as I was writing Seventh Planet Mercury Rising, there was a SARS epidemic going on and had everybody all spooked. What timing. Anyway, so here we are again. And I am writing another book. I'm writing my autobiography, just so I'll let the cat out of the bag. And I'm pretty far along with it. I'm thinking I'm going to get it finished this year if I don't get too distracted with other things. That's the goal anyway. So in Wuhan, the only place in China where they have a BDSL-4 lab, near a wet market, which is a good cover excuse for introducing or gathering viruses with all the different animals they're bringing in there. So it's a good place to study that kind of thing. Fast forward to October of 2019, and it's coming to light now that there was a military competition there in Wuhan that involved many countries, including the United States. It appears the United States showed up not to really compete athletically as a military force. This is the Army, I guess. Out of, I don't know, there were more than 50 countries represented there, like a mini military Olympics, and the U.S. placed 35th. And they were basically accused of running around, philandering, not really having any interest in the games. And the evidence is coming to bear, and I'm not going to give it to you right now, I'll just say it's coming to bear, that there in Wuhan in October, during those military games, the Army representatives that were supposed to be athletes at this event were actually agents of a military lab, probably Fort Detrick, Maryland, if I had to guess. And they seem to be the ones who released the virus. It wasn't China doing it to themselves. And this could have been a little payback for the trade war. I have no idea what, or it was part of a planned event all along. But the way China responded, they didn't act like they did it to themselves initially. But you never know. But I'm ruling that out because of the impact of what it did. If they had planned on it affecting someone else, they probably would have seeded it in another location, not in their country. So that said, that story makes a lot of sense to me. This thing was engineered 4 different ways. One, so it lives longer outside the body. One, so it can be turned into an aerosol. One, so that apparently it can fester and not show symptoms, but still be contagious. And then the 4th one was, what was that one? The fact that, well, actually the 4th one is the fact that it can reinfect, and when it does, it could be worse than the first time because of, you could call it a histological response of the body that's a little excessive once it sees it again. So it almost seems engineered to do that. And also when it comes the second time, it seems to choose a different pathway through the lungs than it did the first time. So it's a very smart virus, okay? And the fact that they can inspect the virus, modern geneticists, and see where these insertion points were made, this is pretty damning. Even those who believe that the body produces disease and then suddenly it produces the viruses as a result of the disease, if people believe that, 2 different camps. It wouldn't have produced a virus that had genetic engineering marks on it. No way. Okay, so that's what we're seeing. And with that said, it's in a bioengineered lab, and you'd expect it to be bioengineered, okay? And when it got out, it was designed not to be stoppable. Well, you can see it didn't respect any N95 masks or any borders or anything else for that matter. And now it's in, last I saw, I think it was in 150 countries. So it's almost made it all the way around the world very quickly. Okay, so that said, I believe that this particular virus is not like normal viruses that we've seen, in the sense that it had a political agenda from the very beginning. And this one, because of the way it was engineered and studied, and they knew if they added these features that it would be pretty much unstoppable. So they planned on everybody getting it, except those who already have the vaccine that was produced at the same time they patented it. Okay, so the U.S. patented the virus, and they also probably have the vaccine as well that's patented to protect themselves when it boomerangs back and does what it's doing right now, scaring people all over in the United States at all different levels, including all the way up to the president, right? So no one's immune from this. There's been talk about it affecting different people in different ways. That's probably true. And viruses mutate, so they don't stay the same as they move around. And that's the nature of the difficulty of these things. Once they're in the human populace, sometimes it's very hard to get them out, if you can get it out. Now, so that said, there's some hard science behind tracking viruses. And I'm going to share a little bit with you that a scientist over at Natural News and Hero, as far as I'm concerned, Mike Adams, shared with the public. And he knows what he did. There's probably very few people who actually opened it up and played with it, looked at it, tried to understand it so they knew what they were in for. So I'm going to share a screen with you real quick. That's got, I can share Only the host can share. I want to share the screen. There we go. I think it's this one. Okay. I'm a little nerdy with spreadsheets too. I used to do a lot of spreadsheets and modeling and all kinds of things as an electrical engineer. So anyway, I went through Mike's model. This is a revision 2. I've added a few things, doctored it up a little bit, mostly to make it easier to read. I didn't change any of the formulas, but I did go through all the formulas. It's not really that hard. Okay, so here's the values that are kind of the parameters that you can change. This one has to do with the scalability of how many people, if you come in contact, they're going to get sick because of that. Right now, I played around with this number. It's been postulated it can be as low as 2 and as high as almost 6.7. That number was being batted around for a while. If you had no medical care whatsoever, this number could be as high as 15. Okay. No, not this number, a different number. Infectious days. This is how many days they had originally told us it takes to incubate. I think it's more like 26 now. I might change this model. We'll see what it does if I change that. That gives the virus more time to get spread around asymptomatically. So imagine you're being accused as you come into a little restaurant. Hey, there's the asymptomatic super spreader. In other words, they may not know you from adding them, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't have any symptoms. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're asymptomatic, and you're the one spreading it all around. Well, how do you prove that, right? So it's like until it shows signs in you and you even know you have it, this could happen where they suddenly accuse you. It'd be really, really bad. Maybe you took a big bong hit, right? Started coughing in the middle of the night. You're a midnight toker, and somebody heard you and reported you. Probably in California, if I had to guess. Okay, so I think that number needs to change to about 26. But either way, number of people who infected start, you need an initial population for the math to work. The mortality rate, very, very low. That's okay. That'll be different in different places wherever you are. So we'll leave it low. And then this social distancing score. This one's interesting. If you don't isolate yourself at all, just let it run its course through the populace, this will be close to 0. Whereas if some people are self-isolating, 25%, and that number can change as a function of how the response from the government comes. So you may have to change this number at various places along in the formula to see how it comes. Because right now you normally wouldn't just leave that the same. But for this exercise, we'll just leave it the way Mike had it. Okay. So day 1 is the day that we started tracking, or he started tracking. The actual initial day was back in October and November of 2019, whatever the cover-up was going on. They were trying to hide the thing. Okay, but I personally think it started around in October, whenever those military games happened in Wuhan. Way to go, Army. Okay, so this counts the days, the date, the active infections. Okay, newly infected. This is a formula that basically gets computed up here. I went through this to make sure this was correct. Okay, and then once you go 14 days, you're reinserting the data here. From there, you can see that. The number that died today, this is a formula that comes by dividing the mortality rate by the number of infected. No, that's giving you a percentage. So that's 2% times F44. So that's right over here. So 2% of that. Okay, so, and then of course, subtract this and this, and you get that. So everything looks pretty good. Um, I went through this, and of course, you want to look and see if these numbers here are matching what's happening in the news, kind of thing. So I kind of started poking around back on this model. I would say somewhere about here, somewhere here. And about the time I got to this day, I noticed with a little bit of a tweak on the R0 value, this thing dialed right in. And then this number dialed pretty much in here today. So it might be a little bit early, but it's pretty close. That kind of got me concerned because if the model's accurate, you can do extrapolation and see what you're in for. Okay, this is assuming the social distancing score doesn't change. Now, I would make it 100% and leave it that way for about 7 or 8 weeks if you really wanted this to pass. But that doesn't seem to be what's going to happen. Okay, looks like people are going to be sent back to work so they can start a whole new second wave. Anyway, so let's follow this column down a little bit here. What I did is I just plotted from March 24th, which was yesterday, to May 24th. Here's the days and the number of people. And I was like, holy moly, we went from 782 people right here to, when we go to, what did I say, May 24th? And watch it over here, May 24th. Because what you have to understand is this stuff's happening exponentially. That number right there, let's put a comma on it and see what it is. That number says 5,340,364 people. Now, this is just in the United States alone. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there for a minute and talk about Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, how badly they want the population reduced. Talks about it all the time. It's not a secret. People know it. I think he ought to be investigated and brought up on charges if he was involved with the Wuhan facility in any way, shape, or form. This is criminal. In addition, what was I going to say? The release of this virus, because of what it's going to do, is actually part of a much bigger plan that was talked about Bill Riley in the Anglo-Saxon mission, and he released a video on it 10 years ago, pretty much parroting what was going to be done as China caught a cold. And the next step after that was to lure Iran into an all-out war to start World War III. Well, that got attempted just in January, and it didn't work. Iran didn't take the bait, but they sure could have, having their second highest ranking person killed publicly in a massacre. So anyway, this virus is being allowed to cull the population in accordance with what they want in Sustainable Development Agenda 21, which is just around the corner. You realize this is a plan that they want to happen where they effectively, you could say, the New World Order takes over one world government, one world religion, get rid of all the other currencies, and a world army. That's what they want. Okay, actually, you go all the way to the top. That's what one of the top level Anunnaki members wanted, and this is what goes along with the Lord of the Earth title on the Anunnaki Council. And I truly believe that one this time is Enki's firstborn son Marduk is making that happen. So I see this as an Anunnaki war. If you go back to the Atrahasis, way back in history, they used disease and things like that to cull people. It was really awful. Let's see if we can find this article right here. I want you guys to go look this video up on my site. It's called Ebola, Immigration, Gaza, and the Days of Noah. In particular, what it looks like to me is we are living in the days, as it was in the days of Noah, so it shall also be coming and going now. Okay. A lot of you have heard that before. It shows up in the book, in the preface for Chad Thomas's Adam and Eve, talking about global cataclysm. But in this video, I talk about the pandemic that happened. And this was 2014, and this was in 1348. It was originally done to cull the population, okay? And many people believe the Spanish flu was similar to further the decimation of humanity following World War I. So if that's the case, this is just the beginning. We're talking, gosh, in Dr. Jesus, they used 2 pandemics, cut off the food, the water, starvation. They ultimately were turned to cannibalism and then brought the flood. So it was pretty severe. Okay, that's what was happening in the days of Noah. And that could be starting right now for us as a species. So that's kind of what I have for you. I wish I had something really good to tell you. What I will say is most of the world is locked down in quarantine in their homes right now, watching this whole thing happen on the internet. That's probably a good place to be. So make good use of your time. Seek higher consciousness while you're locked down, and learn to meditate. Do all the things that you thought you didn't have time for that are going to lead to spiritual development while you're in this situation. And that would be my recommendation of the best way to use your time. And Krista and I are going to continue producing new products, new services, and serving our community on the internet the best we can. So with that said, we're both very busy. Lots of stuff going on with us. So it's actually very interesting that we're in a place where we're very focused and isolated and spending a lot of time trying to grow our business and maintain our spiritual growth and our practice through all of this as well. So with that said, I want to encourage all of you to take care of each other. Okay? Take care of each other. That's something we say in Arkansas. And think about it. It's really important to do that. Both your family and your friends and people that just need help every once in a while. Okay? I've been Gerald Clark with 7 Planet Broadcasting. And we'll catch you up very soon.
Please visit our website stores where you can purchase the always popular Starfire Gold alchemical elixirs, colloidal silver, as well as our books in English and Spanish, digital and paperback, and audiobooks too. Gravity Body Academy courses and events can also be accessed in the online store. Purchasing our products and services allows us both to continue serving you and the broader community. Thank you for your support.